So we started dabbling in our granddaddy, the goods market, last time. So we're going to look at what we call aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Try to explain some things. And we started off with this picture. So remember, this is real GDP, but we'll also think of it as just being the capital Y, just like we've done before, thinking of it our income. Back from chapter 4, we've got the expenditure approach to measuring real GDP, where we can take our cigarettes, C plus I plus G plus X, right? So consumption by households, plus investment by businesses for the most part, plus government spending, plus net spending with foreigners, what we spend on their stuff minus what they spend on us. And that gives us all the dollar value of all final goods and services produced within the nation's boundaries over the course of the year, adjusted for inflation. So that was our marketplace. So we had this expenditure approach to measuring GDP. This little graph helps us remember that all the money that's spent on new final goods and services gets allocated to various resources that were used in the production of it, right? So we got land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. All of those things are owned by households. Households supply that stuff to businesses that make that stuff. And so the payments that are done are called income. So we also had the income approach to measuring GDP, which was simply the sum of all incomes. So we took the large category of wages and salaries, interest payments, rents, all kinds of things, profits that are payments to individuals that live in houses over here, and we add up all their income. So no matter which way you take it, we learn that spending equals income, and that's why we care about that statistic from a macro standpoint, is that if that number continues to grow, it means that our incomes continue to grow. And if our population continues to grow, we'd at least like our incomes to grow proportionately. And if we have real prosperity, then maybe our incomes will grow at a larger rate than our population grows, and we'll have more income per person. Maybe it's ways that we can alleviate poverty even, perhaps, or something like that. So all kinds of issues that we'll get into once we start to get down the rest of the details on our basic model. So real GDP is the statistic that's being measured down here. It's really the quantity of final goods and services. And then over here we've got the price level, the average level of prices for that amount of stuff. And that was that index number, like the consumer price index, that just kind of gives us an average level of what all of this stuff is being made for. And I like to start people off with the long-run aggregate supply curve. In other words, what does the supply curve look like in relationship to prices? And we kind of made a weird argument by saying there is no relationship. The long-run aggregate supply curve looks like that. And whenever we see a function or a graph, whether it's a line or whether it's curved, but any one of these functions in two-dimensional space, if it's vertical or if it's perfectly horizontal, means there is no relationship between the price level and the real GDP in what we're now going to call the long-run horizon, long term. Okay, so the idea is that to what we have at our disposal in the form of resources. There are no dollars on this diagram. If we take the United States right now and we try to freeze time, we can kind of take an inventory of, well, how much stuff do we got? We got this much land, this much sunshine, this much rainfall, this much timber, this much coal, this much, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. this many people willing to work, this much capital, machines, computers, buildings, pencils, tablets, whatever, other man-made stuff that helps make other stuff. And then we've got some people that are willing to pool all that together, entrepreneurs. And that's a physical process that goes on. It doesn't matter what the prices are. Ultimately, we face a physical constraint. That's an important one to think because we get so mixed up or confused by the smoke and mirrors of dollars and price tags out there, which in theory should be conveying meaningful information on what we value. But at the end of the day, we only have so much stuff to work with. And so the potential for the economy is going to be whatever it's going to be. And so we're going to mark it on the horizontal axis as Y subscript P for potential. This number is kind of a number that says, you know what, over the long haul, this is what we can probably do given our resource base. This is the potential for the economy. We saw this come up in a couple different places in the past. One I gave you last time to think back to the production possibilities frontier, the maximum combination of two goods an economy can produce given its available resources and technology. That showed the outer frontier. We could have lots of beer and little pizza, or we could free up some resources and move to this point where we have less beer and more pizza, or we can move all the way down to this point where we've got lots of pizza and little beer. No matter where we go, we're just using our limited resources to be at a different point. But we can't be outside that. That's kind of what I want you to think about with this potential real GDP is we can't get beyond that in the long run. Turns out we can do it in the short run. We'll learn why. Another graph that we did was the business cycle, where we were measuring time, and now we've got real GDP being measured on the vertical axis. These are the ups and downs of the economy. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Expansion, peak, recession, trough, expansion, peak, recession, trough. Right? The economy seems to go through these ups and downs. And in chapter 6, we talked about what does it do in the long run? If we take a longer chunk of time rather than any given small time frame, if we kind of think about the long run, we can kind of map out the trend line over time. And now I want you to think about that being that potential, right? So this trend line is kind of the long run potential for the economy. It's possible that we may drop below our potential. Up here in this graph, we'll drop below. Or it's possible that we might be able to heat things up and kind of go beyond our long run potential. In the short term, maybe it's possible to get beyond that. So that's the idea, that kind of the two previous concepts that tie back into the long run aggregate supply curve.
Would that mean that the top graph is a snapshot in time?
The top graph is being here. This is really a snapshot of time periods. And so that's what's going to ultimately happen, is that something might move to make this change next year, right? Or this one might move next year, and then it'll be a different snapshot, depending on where we go. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, so let's draw some of these notes here. So first of all, the long run aggregate supply is our new curve that we got, which isn't much of a curve, more of a straight line. The long run aggregate supply curve shows the economy's potential level of real GDP when there is full employment. Now, this particular course doesn't have a cumulative final, you might be happy to know. But would you be able to study just the second half of this course and especially with 6, full employment. What did that mean? The natural rate of unemployment. Right. There was a connection there between fully employed. Economy is at the natural rate of unemployment. The natural rate of unemployment. Which I'll call UN, U subscript N for the natural rate of unemployment. Quite a few of you got this right on the test. What couple types of unemployment still exist when the economy is at the natural rate of unemployment? Structural and frictional. Frictional, yes. So structural and frictional. So we're always expect there to be a certain amount of turnover in the labor market. That would be very natural that people are in between jobs. They quit one and start another. You guys graduate from college and now you're saying, okay, time to look for a job. As soon as you said that, you are unemployed because you started actively looking for employment. All right, so all of those things lead us to the economy being somewhere in this natural rate. Maybe economists 5 to 6%. Again, ask different economists and they're going to give you different answers, but somewhere in that range lies the natural rate of unemployment. Okay, so the next comment under this heading I wanted to say is that note it is independent. It is independent of the price level. That's what this vertical line means. It's independent of the price level. So it doesn't really matter what prices are going to be. There's a physical constraint that is going on. All right. So here's the rest of the story. It's possible in the short run that we might have a trade-off between prices and quantities. So we've got two supply curves. I think this is the first time we've ever done that, where we actually map out two different supply curves on the graph. All right, so in the long run, the argument would be, we don't care if there's higher prices at Walmart. If all the prices at Walmart doubled, when would you be in a position where you wouldn't care? If your wages doubled, right? So if your paycheck doubled and all the prices at Walmart doubled, you could put the same amount in your basket, right? If you had $1,000, you could put the exact same goods in your shopping cart as long as you had $2,000 after they doubled all the prices at Walmart. So one of the prices over here is output and input prices. So the short run aggregate supply curve is going to allow there to be a lag time between resource price adjustment and output price adjustment. And that's going to be the catch. So I'm going to put just a big W here, meaning nominal wage from chapter 6. Suppose that the average nominal wage is $10. So you are earning $10 per hour is your income. This supply curve, those of you who had micro class, looks like the supply of pizza, right? As the price of pizza went up, pizza suppliers are willing and able to supply more pizza to the market. And so it looked like that. And one of the things with the law of supply was ceteris paribus. What does that mean again? All other things held constant. So the pizza place, if we're looking at Pizza Village here, and we look at a supply curve of pizza, the price of pizza, and the quantity of pizza, it says that if the price of a pie is 10 bucks, Pizza Village will make 100 of them. If the price goes up to $15, Pizza Village will supply 120 of them, ceteris paribus, holding all of the things constant. Constant like what?
Price of ingredients.
The price of the ingredients, right? So the price of the cheese, the price of the crust. What other things are held constant? The wages of the people, right? So the price of resources are held constant. That was one of our things that ultimately shifted the curve. If the price of the ingredients goes up, at $15 per pie, they used to be able to supply 120, but now that all the ingredients cost more, they have to cut back. And when the price of pizza was $10, they used to supply 100, but now that the ingredients have doubled in price, the price of cheese, the price of bread, the price of labor, they have to cut back. And so the supply curve shifts to the left when there's an increase in the price of resources. We're going to carry that microeconomic concept into the macro picture over here in a similar fashion. But it's going to be a little different because not only are pizzas included in here, what else is included? What else is included besides pizza? Go. Beer. Yes.
Everything.
What?
Everything.
I want specifics. Chapstick, yes. Ice cream, yes. Pens. Yes. 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 Yes, 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 yes. All right, so real GDP has a lot of stuff in it, right? So we're going to tell that microeconomic story for the macro economy. So let's step back because economists sometimes make some absurd assumptions in certain cases. Does this resonate with you? In other words, what moves first? The prices on the shelves at Walmart or the wages paid to the employees? If the economy dips down into a recession and things are bad, what moves first? The prices on the shelves at Walmart or the wages paid to the employees? The wages? Prices? So I hear kind of a competing thing. We got some people thinking wages and prices. Why prices? Why do you say prices, Lauren?
I don't really know.
Okay. I mean, I think your gut
like
feeling. I think your gut feeling's good. I mean, if things are bad, what happens to inventory at Walmart? Inventory. It goes up. So inventory is the supply of goods on the shelves, right? So as things start to fall, Walmart, what they observe, maybe they don't even know that the economy is going into recession. By the way, they probably don't. They just see that, oh crap, we got a whole bunch of shirts and underwear to sell. We got a whole bunch of food on our shelves. We got a whole bunch of big screen TVs. We got a whole bunch of these things. Nobody's buying them. What should I do as Walmart? What does Walmart do when there's excess inventory on the shelves? Connor? Drop the price, right? Do they cut the wages right away first? No, right? So the first response is adjustments. Now, hopefully, if it was a temporary thing, they cut the price, they have a sale, they move the product, they order some more product, that product gets sold, and then that product got sold real fast, and then they come in, they order more product, prices start to go up, they're like, wow, we got these TVs too cheap. Maybe we should jack up the price and make a little bit more money, right? So prices tend to be moving. They're a little more fluid. Prices.
Now, does the store manager have that power to do that?
Absolutely.
Or does it go above that?
Depending on what the corporate structure is, but here at the Walmart, I think, I don't know this with certainty, but I would guess that the store manager at Walmart can absolutely drop prices. There's not some central, because what's happening in Ottawa, Kansas might be completely different than in Lee Summit, Missouri, right? So if they need to move some product, they can say special clearance price, and they move the product. So yes, at a very local level, they can change price.
I know.
People didn't buy as much of the product. Why would they buy them?
Could be some other external factors. The stuff that if they got if their wage didn't change. Great question. Let me throw that back at you guys. You got an answer for that. Again, we're Walmart. Think about this inventory story I just told you. Why would people quit buying if their wage stayed the same?
Getting sick of certain products.
Okay? Cut their hours. Good. Who said that? Okay, that's a good one. So possibly you got your hours cut, making your income go down. Those of you who are on hourly pay. Other people might have lost their whole job. So you still have your job making $10, but another person was laid off. And if we're Walmart, we don't know that. All we're observing, what our real life picture looks like, is all of a sudden, I've got excess inventory on my shelves. I don't know necessarily for sure what the story is of why that's happening. So good question. The wage might stay the same, but as a few people can't go to the store as much. And so instead of selling 100 TVs like they normally do, they only sell 70. And then the next day they only sell 60. So they're still selling TVs, but they're not selling them at the rate they were before. Okay, good. Anything else? Other comments or questions on that? All right, so we have to kind of buy into that story that it seems reasonable. I think it does to some degree, and now we're going to start to explore the timing of these changes. How quickly does it adjust? Is it going to be true in the macro picture, or do wages catch up pretty soon, or is that a long period of time? So when we have this discrepancy, we're going to allow the economy to move from a point like A to a point like B. And what's going on in theory is that the economy is operating at production levels that are greater than their potential. Let's call this Y2. Prices are going up from their initial level, PL1, to PL2. The assumption of the model is that resource prices remain fixed. The prices of the ingredients, the prices of wages, And the only thing going up is the prices on the shelves. And that's allowing us to move beyond our potential from A to B. Now, where does the rest of the story take us? We've got people who are making 10. What do they notice about their shopping cart when they go shopping? They can do, Matt, what? It doesn't buy as much, right? The shopping cart's not as full because the prices of the stuff on the shelves went up, but my wage didn't. That's what we looked at, the real wage, right? So on the test, we had the real wage equal to the nominal wage divided by the price level. If prices go up and this remains fixed at 10, my purchasing power goes down, right? So what's my response to that? If I'm a good worker and I'm doing a good job at work, what might I want to do to try to restore my purchasing power?
Ask for a raise.
Ask for a raise, right? So now we've got the input market, the factor market, having upward pressure to see wages start to rise, to see the price of ingredients start to rise, but it's after the price effect, the output price effect. So as that starts to happen, as somebody gets a raise, another person gets a raise, a few more people get a raise, what happens to the macro short run aggregate supply curve?
Shifts to the left.
It shifts to the right or to the left?
Right, wrong, left.
Left? How can we think about that one straight? Come back to Mr. Village Pizza here, or any other producer. If wages go up, they used to be able to provide 120, but now that wages have doubled, they supply less. So in the macro picture, this lagged effect of resource prices ratcheting up leads to a shift of the short run aggregate supply curve to the left. And then it's going to come back eventually to this equilibrium point. So maybe we'll get back to here, although I'm not even going to draw anything yet. I just kind of want to plant the seed for now. Okay, did I see a hand go up? Yeah.
I was wondering what you said, leave it till the basket less. The price level was and why move?
Okay, so the question is, why did Y move when prices went up but wages stayed the same? And so the reason is that it's a better deal for the company. They're making more profit, if you will. If we hold all of their costs constant, but we raise their sale price of their good, they're willing to put more on the shelves. So they ramp up production and they ramp up output, but that's only while resource prices are fixed. Okay? We're going to spend quite a bit more time on that, so if it's not quite sinking in yet, hopefully we'll have a few more stabs for you. All right, so let's write that out. The short run aggregate supply curve